"Deal closed," Marco said, snapping his phone shut, a grin splitting his face. Satisfaction radiated off him in waves. $10 million moved across borders, through a spider web of banks, completely ghosted from Uncle Sam's prying eyes. My kind of Tuesday. They call me Nick Rizzoli. My business? Making money vanish. Asset protection, they call it in polite circles. Safeguarding fortunes from the vultures, legal or otherwise. Respect in my world isn't handed out. It's carved in stone. I never ask where the cash comes from. Client discretion is rule number 1. Survival rule number 1. Ignorance is bulletproof. Don't ask, don't get lied to. Simple math that's made me very comfortable. My future? Locked down tighter than Fort Knox. 16 bank accounts scattered across 8 countries. 10 crypto wallets, firewalled and encrypted to hell and back. And Rossi Lifestyle Solutions Inc., my little legal fiction, pays for everything. Apartment in Tribeca, the Porsche, the tailored suits, all company expenses. My official salary? A modest 50 grand a year. Keeps the taxman happy, profile low, and shields me from messy lawsuits and financial fishing expeditions. Clients offer perks, believe me. Women, private islands, promises of muscle. Always a hard pass. Until now. Things were shifting. A tremor in the ground, needed to adjust. Surveillance, tighter security, maybe a little show of teeth. I had favors stacked up like gold bars. Friends in dark corners, always happy to reciprocate. My wife, Sarah, blissfully unaware, thinks I'm a financial consultant. Rossi Lifestyle Solutions just covers the bills, she figures, never digs deeper. Why would she? New Mercedes every Christmas, platinum Amex with no ceiling, shopping sprees like it's an Olympic sport. I thought she was happy. Hell, I thought we were untouchable. 5 years married felt like a damn fairy tale, the kind of passion that could melt steel, laugh together like teenagers, inseparable. Paradise. But paradise, I was about to learn, was staring down the barrel of a Category 5 hurricane named Mike. Sarah and I, we were college sweethearts, dated 2 years, married at 25. Now 30, she was still knockout gorgeous, blonde hair like spun gold, eyes the color of a summer sky. Trophy wife? Yeah, maybe, but she was mine. And she knew it, loved the attention, but always flashed that wedding ring like a beacon. Until recently. Something had flickered, a subtle shift in the tectonic plates of our marriage. Then Mike walked back into the picture. Mike Peterson. Her college boyfriend before me. The one who enlisted, the one who disappeared. Faded into a ghost of a memory, until now. 8 years later, back in New York, and he hadn't forgotten Sarah. Apparently, Sarah hadn't forgotten him either. Mutual friend, drunken barbecue, number exchanged, texts started, then calls. That's when I saw it. 6 weeks ago, Sarah became intense, over-the-top affectionate, initiating sex like it was her new full-time job. Enjoyable, sure, but off, way off. Guilt, that's what it smelled like. Guilt and cheap perfume. Suspicion, cold and heavy, settled in my gut, like swallowing a brick. Then a casual mention at a poker night. Mike Peterson's back in town. When did he get back? I asked, voice casual, poker face locked. The date dropped like a lead weight, aligned perfectly with Sarah's sudden personality transplant. Enough was enough. One call. Business associate owed me bigger than he knew. Dig up everything you can on a Mike Peterson, I said, voice tight. And I mean everything. Promised it would be done. Fast. 3 days later, a 4-inch dossier landed on my desk. Mike Peterson laid bare. Birth certificate, college transcripts, military records, down to his goddamn grocery lists. Even a daily transcript of his text messages. I knew more about Mike Peterson than his own mother. The texts with Sarah started harmless, catching up, friendly banter. But Mike, he was persistent. Like water dripping on stone, chipping away at the walls. And Sarah, damn her, after a week she started flirting back. The moment she agreed to lunch, I knew. This wasn't just lunch. This was a test run, the appetizer before the main course. Then Mike, the audacity of this guy. He texts her, "Wear something hot for me. Miss you," he says. And Sarah? She texts back, "Should I forget my underwear?" Rage, pure white-hot rage. Haven't felt this kind of fury since I was a kid, street brawling for scraps. Consulted my inner circle, my guys. "This needs to be face to face," I said, voice low and dangerous. "Restaurant. Tonight. I wouldn't be going alone." The restaurant, upscale Italian joint in Little Italy. They were in a private booth, backs to the room. Her dress. Jesus Christ, the dress. Red, slinky, cut down to there, riding way too high. No bra. Bedroom dress. Not lunch with an old flame dress. Fury twisted my stomach into knots. Big Tony, my muscle, slid into a table nearby. Eyes locked on Sarah. Insurance policy. I walked up, casual as could be. "Honey?" Sarah's eyes went wide, shocked. Guilt, thick and suffocating, rolled off her like heat. Mike looked up, smirk playing on his lips. Silent confidence oozing from him. Not intimidated, challenging me. I slid into the booth across from them, expression blank. "Aren't you going to introduce me to your friend, Sarah?" Her voice trembled. "Tony, this is Mike Peterson. Mike, this is my husband, Tony." Mike's smirk widened. Hands still clamped around Sarah's on the table. She tried to pull away. He tightened his grip. Message received. He wasn't backing down. My eyes met Sarah's. Cold. Steady. "I need to talk to my wife, privately." Mike hesitated, then finally released her hand. Sarah stood, clutching her purse like a life raft. Anxiety etched deep into her face. Wordlessly, I led her towards the back of the restaurant, past the restrooms. She followed, silent, guilt making her compliant. Empty men's room, the stale smell of disinfectant and desperation. I turned to face her. The dress, no bra. "What exactly were you planning today, Sarah?" My voice, low, even. But she flinched like I'd slapped her. Tears welled up. "It's not what it looks like. Please, Just let me explain. I lifted the hem of her dress, just a few inches. Enough. Her breath hitched. No underwear. Just like she'd promised Mike. I forced her to look in the mirror. Look at yourself. You dressed like this for another man, not me. Him. She gasped, yanking her dress down. Tony, no, I swear. Stop. My voice hardened. We're going to talk, and here's how it's going to happen. She was still listening. Good. You're going to walk out of here, straight to your car, without acknowledging your boyfriend. You'll drive home, make coffee, and wait for me. 10 minutes. No calls, no texts. If you don't follow my instructions, don't bother coming home at all. Her hands trembled as she nodded, too scared to argue. And one more thing, I said, voice like ice. When I get home, you'll be in this exact dress, exactly as you are now. She swallowed hard. I understand. Without another word, she turned and walked out. Straight ahead, no glance back. Now, time for a little chat with Mike Peterson. Oh my God, what have I done? Sarah's thoughts were a runaway train, careening off the rails. Relief washed over her as Mike approached her at the restaurant, a wave of nostalgia and something darker pulling her under. Relief he was okay. Relief he was back. Relief he was no longer in harm's way, no longer deployed. Years of late-night worries, imagining the worst-case scenarios, wondering if he would make it home at all. Mike. Her first love, the one who carved a permanent space in her heart. It took forever to get over him. Even now, years later, flashes of memory, a ghost of what was. But Tony was real. Tony was everything. Since the day they met, he'd been her anchor, her rock, her safe harbor in a storm, her partner in every damn way that mattered. She loved him. She knew that. Deep down, bone deep, she loved Tony. She'd never want to lose him, never want to hurt him, and yet, here she was, standing on the precipice of disaster, caught in a tangled web of her own making. Damn it, Josh. Mike. Damn it, Mike. He had this way, always had, of getting under her skin, making her feel young again, reckless, pushing her buttons, making her do things she knew better than to do. And God, she hated that she couldn't resist him, hated that little thrill of danger, that forbidden spark. She tried to push him away. Polite texts, distant calls, keep it friendly, keep it light. But his persistence, that relentless charm, wore her down. His words, like whispers in the dark, slipped past her defenses, just like they always had. Flirting, teasing, then the lunch invitation. Before she could think, before she could stop herself, she said yes. The moment the word left her lips, guilt slammed into her like a punch to the gut. She knew it was wrong, knew she should tell Tony. Spill it all, get it over with. Mike's back in town. We talked. We're meeting for lunch. But she didn't. Kept it a secret. And the regret, the heavy, suffocating regret, was eating her alive. Mike had this way of making her feel connected. like they shared some secret language, some unspoken bond that transcended time and distance, drawing her back in, pulling her under. "Wear something nice," he texted. She should have said no, should have shut it down right then and there, but instead she complied. And worse, she took it further, something she couldn't even explain to herself. No underwear. What the hell was she thinking? When they were together, back in college, he used to insist on it. A little game they played. When he invited her to lunch, those memories, those reckless, youthful memories, came flooding back, making it feel almost natural, almost okay. She almost backed out, almost turned around and ran. Guilt, sharp and biting, clawing at her throat. But then another text from Mike. "Can't wait to see you." And that was it. Decision made. Just lunch, she told herself, just a couple of hours, just like old times. That's how she justified it, lied to herself, twisted the truth until it almost made sense. And then she saw him at the restaurant, tall, confident, presence commanding the space around him. And something stirred, something she hadn't felt in years. Attraction, desire. It disgusted her to admit it, even to herself, but it was there, undeniable. Mike was even more striking than she remembered. 8 years in the Marines, sculpted his body into something dangerous, something any woman would look at twice. She felt her face flush as he greeted her, his touch lingering just a fraction too long. Laughter, excitement, dangerous nostalgia. When he took her hand across the table, a strange sense of safety. And yet she'd never been in more danger in her life. Then, out of nowhere, Tony. He materialized like a ghost, sitting down across from them, a slow, knowing smile spreading across his face. But it wasn't kind. It wasn't friendly. It was something else entirely. Something dark. Something that made her blood run cold. When he saw their hands intertwined, the world shattered. Pain, anger, betrayal. It was all there, swirling in his eyes. A toxic cocktail, and she wanted to undo it desperately. Wanted to leap across the table, wrap her arms around him, swear to him that he was the only man she loved, that she would never, ever intentionally hurt him. But that's exactly what she had done. Tony's gaze sliced through her, sharp and cold, filled with disgust, with contempt. The man she'd built her life with, the man she'd given her heart to, was looking at her like she was a stranger. When he said he wanted to talk, her stomach plummeted. She knew what was coming. He pulled her into the men's room and she could barely breathe. Then he lifted her dress, and her heart stopped. The moment he saw she wasn't wearing underwear, she thought she might actually collapse. What must he be thinking? In that moment, she felt like the lowest of the low, a liar, a cheater. When he told her to go home and wait for him, she knew she had no choice but to comply. If she had any chance, any sliver of hope of saving her marriage, she had to listen. She had to make him understand. Understand that she'd been foolish, weak, but that she had never meant to betray him. And then Tony turned back to Mike, and fear cold and sharp, pierced through her guilt. She wanted to scream, tell him not to do it. Mike was bigger, stronger, trained to kill. She was terrified of what Tony might do, what Mike might do back. But Tony's mind was set. As she walked to her car, the weight of the world pressing down on her shoulders, she didn't dare look back at Mike. She knew he was watching her go, wondering. Tears blurred her vision, and it took every ounce of strength she possessed to pull herself together enough to drive home. She'd never seen that look in Tony's eyes before, that raw pain, that cold disappointment, that simmering fury. And it was all her fault, all of it. Now all she could do was wait. Mike watched her walk away, a flicker of amusement in his eyes. Then Tony turned back to him, expression eerily calm. "Well, looks like Sarah won't be coming back," he said, voice measured, controlled. "So I thought I'd take this opportunity to have a little chat with you, Mike." Mike smirked. "What's there to talk about? Sarah and I go way back. She still has feelings for me. I think tonight proved that." Tony didn't flinch. "She's my wife," he said simply, "and I don't share." Mike leaned back, arms crossed, a cocky grin plastered on his face. "Sounds possessive, Tony." Tony chuckled, a low, humorless sound. "Not at all. I'm giving her a choice. Either she stays in our marriage, or she leaves me for you. But not both." Mike frowned, the smirk faltering. "She'll decide without your influence," Tony continued, ignoring the jab. "If she picks you, so be it. Fair enough. But if she stays, you disappear. No texts, no calls, no accidental run-ins at Whole Foods. You'll be a ghost. If she stays for good." Mike scoffed. "And what if she still wants me? What if she tells me she can't resist?" Tony leaned in, voice dropping to a whisper, eyes locking on Mike's. "Then by midnight, she'll call you, and if she does, you win. But if she doesn't, you leave her alone. Forever." Mike's smirk vanished completely. "And if I don't?" Tony tilted his head, a chilling smile playing on his lips. "Then you'll understand why I know your parents' names. Your sister's last visit to Austin, and your best friend Billy's girlfriend's due date. You'll learn firsthand what happens when someone interferes in my marriage." Mike's expression darkened. "Are you threatening me?" Tony shook his head, still smiling that cold, unsettling smile. "No, Mike. I'm making a promise." Mike swallowed hard, the bravado suddenly evaporating. Tony stood, adjusting his jacket, the picture of casual menace. "Midnight," he said, voice sharp and clear. "Let's see what she chooses." As he walked away, Big Tony, the mountain of a man who'd been sitting nearby, stood up, locking eyes with Mike before turning and following Tony out. Mike exhaled, a shaky breath escaping his lips. Suddenly, brutally, he realized he'd miscalculated badly. Tony Rizzoli wasn't some pushover husband. He was something else entirely, something dangerous. And Sarah's choice? It would determine everything. A minute after I left the restaurant, a text message flashed on Mike's phone. "Heads up, your innocent husband travels with backup. Big guy. Looks like he eats guys like you for breakfast. Confirmation, just in case Mike had any doubts. Driving home, the silence in the Porsche was deafening. My mind raced. Would she be there? Would she be waiting? Would the woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, ever be in my bed again? Would she choose him? Tear apart 5 years of our life and walk away? Or would she stay? Remain true to her vows, to me? I pulled into the garage, killed the engine. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I walked inside, the air thick with tension. Sarah was in the kitchen, sitting at the table, bathed in the harsh fluorescent light. Tears streamed down her face. I poured myself a coffee, black, strong. Took a seat across from her. No preamble, no small talk. I know everything, Sarah. My voice was flat, devoid of emotion. The texts, the lunch, the dress, everything. I mentioned my friends in the business, people who owed me favors, people she wouldn't want to meet. Ever. Her apologies started, a torrent of words, desperate, pleading, meaningless. She'd betrayed me, betrayed our marriage. Her actions today, that blatant disrespect, cut deeper than I thought possible. You know me, Sarah, I continued, voice still even. I've always been clear. I won't live with a woman who doesn't respect me, our vows, the sanctity of our marriage. In my world, Sarah, cheating isn't just physical. Even the thought of being with another man, that's a betrayal. Engaging in conversations with him, wearing that dress, no bra, suggesting no underwear, lies. Sitting together holding hands, especially for me, that's treason. Collectively, it screams that you gave your love to a man outside our marriage. Admittedly, there was no kissing, which is the only reason we're still having this conversation. I paused, letting the words hang in the air, heavy, unforgiving. But let me be clear, Sarah. I will never share you, and I won't tolerate a cheating wife. I knew she still had feelings for Mike, a lingering attachment to the past, but I wasn't going to share her, not with him, not with anyone. I hadn't asked her to leave, not yet, because despite everything, despite the rage and the betrayal, I still loved her. Deeply, wanted to salvage what we had, wanted to keep us together. Before we go any further, I said, leaning forward, eyes locked on hers. One question. Don't lie. I might already know. While you were sitting with him, without underwear, did he touch you? Has anyone else ever in our marriage touched you? There? She shook her head, tears streaming faster now. No, she choked out. I swear, never. Only you. But today, I pressed, voice hardening. Today, you were willing to let him? She lowered her head, sobbing, apologizing again and again, regret, remorse, pleading for forgiveness. I acknowledged it. Apart from a few handshakes and text messages, nothing physical happened, not yet. So, our marriage isn't over. Not tonight. But I'm disappointed, Sarah. Deeply disappointed. And your choice of dress. Let's be honest. Did you plan to seduce him? Get him into bed? She denied it vehemently. No intention of sleeping with him, she swore. Just wanted to look good for him. Relive old feelings. I will never share you, Sarah, I repeated, voice like steel. Never. So here's your choice, Mike, or our marriage. If you want to be with him, tell me. I'll let you go. I'll make sure the divorce is fair. You'll be taken care of. You'll be safe. But if you choose to stay, you stay faithful. You honor our vows completely. No more games, no more lies. I laid it out for her, blunt, unambiguous. If you choose Mike, you pack your bags, leave by the weekend. I'll start divorce proceedings Monday morning. If you choose to stay, Mike Peterson is dead to you. He doesn't exist ever again. Understand? I left the kitchen. Think about it, Sarah. I needed her to understand the weight of her decision, the gravity of what she'd almost thrown away. As I walked out, her voice, choked with tears, followed me. Of course I choose you, Tony. Honey, I love you. I don't want anyone else. I heard her, but I kept walking. Think it through, Sarah. If we were going to salvage this, if we were going to rebuild, trust had to be earned back. Brick by painful brick. When I came back from the shower, steam still clinging to my skin, I wanted her answer. Took my time in there, letting the hot water wash away some of the anger, some of the hurt. Dressed slowly, deliberately. Returned to the kitchen. She ran to me the moment she saw me, throwing her arms around me, clinging to me like a drowning woman.
Tony, I love you. I'm so sorry. Please, please forgive me. I'll never leave you. I promise. I'll be the perfect wife. I'll do anything. I want your children. Please don't leave me. You're the only man in my life.
The words tumbled out, a desperate, frantic plea. We embraced, and I carried her to our bed. A strange sense of reclaiming what was mine. Anger, still simmering beneath the surface, fueled a raw, intense intimacy. She surrendered to me completely. Body, mind, soul. Pulled me closer, kissed me tenderly, begged me to take her. We reached a fever pitch, a primal connection, and afterward we lay silently in each other's arms, the world fading away. That night, husband and wife were reunited, confident, or so it seemed, confident that nothing, no one would ever come between them again. The next day, Mike texted. She didn't call. Guess she decided to stay with that idiot. Can't believe it. Our connection, her actions. I thought she'd want to be with me. If I could have gotten her into bed yesterday, she would have left Tony in a heartbeat. Mark my words, Tony. As soon as I get another shot, she'll be mine again. Sorry, Tony, but you're going to lose this girl. A few days later, another text from Mike, trying to reel her back in, convincing her to leave me. Predictable. The good news. Sarah showed me the text, didn't respond. A small step, but a step in the right direction, toward rebuilding what she'd almost destroyed. The following day, I sent a text to Mike. How are your parents doing? Did they find Casey and Mickey yet? Silence. Then a frantic call from Mike. To his parents. The moment he heard the panic in their voices, the distress over the missing dogs, it clicked. The truth slammed into him like a freight train. I'd warned him. And now his actions had consequences. Consequences that touched the people he cared about. To drive the point home, I'd made sure the dogs disappeared. A little vacation, under close supervision, of course. When Mike called me, furious, demanding to know what I'd done, threatening me, I reminded him of my warning. I told you not to mess with Sarah, Mike. Consider this a taste of the pain I can bring you. The dogs will come back. But this is your final warning. Stay away from my wife. Mike's tone shifted, acknowledged the warning, but insisted the dogs better return unharmed. I'll consider it, I said, voice cold. Depends on your tone. Then I twisted the knife. Maybe your parents should know why their precious puppies vanished. Maybe I should call them. Panic flared in Mike's voice. He apologized, pleaded, swore to stay away from Sarah. I accepted his apology, but made it crystal clear. Next time, Mike, it won't be the dogs that disappear. At 3:00 a.m. the next morning, Mike's parents were woken by barking at their front door. Casey and Mickey, tails wagging, tongues lolling, were back. Their relief was immeasurable. And Mike, he finally understood. His little fantasy of stealing my wife, over. For good. Mike, hearing the news, sent a brief thank you text. Relief was palpable. But as the weight of it all settled in, he distanced himself from Sarah, recognized the mess he'd almost created, craved a clean break, fresh start. He took a job in another city, hours away. Curiosity, maybe a flicker of ego, made him search for more information about me. Public records, financial advisor, that's all he found. Deeper details, firewalled, impenetrable. He moved on, severed ties with Sarah, left the past behind. But I wasn't content just watching. Temptation, like a shadow, always lurks. I took proactive steps. 2 weeks after the restaurant incident, I presented Sarah with a post-nuptial agreement, drafted by my lawyer, crystal clear. If she ever strayed again, she'd lose everything. House, cars, bank accounts, even any rights to children born during our marriage. No agreement can guarantee fidelity. But this was a stark reminder, a powerful incentive to consider the consequences. More than that, it reinforced my stance, vigilant, attentive, unyielding. Never again would blind trust make me a fool. From that moment forward, our marriage changed. I made my presence known. Not as a shadow, but as a force, engaged, attentive, expectations clear. Sarah, in turn, understood. The close call, the near disaster, had been a wake-up call. For the first time in years, she fully committed. To us, to our life together. A year later, Sarah was pregnant, our first child. The joy of impending parenthood forged a new bond, stronger than ever. She embraced her role as my wife, not out of fear, but out of genuine appreciation for what we had, for what we'd almost lost. The ghost of Mike Peterson faded, as if he'd never existed. Sometimes, late at night, I wondered, had I done the right thing? Trust once shattered never fully mends. But I'd fought for what was mine, protected what I valued most, and in the end, it was my unwavering resolve, my love, tempered with strength and a healthy dose of ruthlessness, that had saved us. One reckless decision could have destroyed everything. Instead, it became the catalyst for something stronger, something unbreakable.